the recording. I want to thank Saundra for showing up and sharing her art and her inspiration and everything with us. And everybody, just all bear with us. I'm going to be trying to share my screen to match up with what she wants to talk about. So there may be a little bit of lapse. We haven't rehearsed, but we'll make it work. And welcome.
Again, hello everybody, and thank you for inviting me to be part of your discussion today. I'm a crochet artist and I live here in Ithaca. I think I moved here in 2014. And my crochet art, how it evolved was because I'm self-taught. So I've taken a few art classes in college, but other than that, that's about it. And at the time, I've been doing this for, oh gosh, I guess 40 years. And at the time, I didn't understand, like, you know, why simple crochet, like, why couldn't I be happy just crocheting a hat or a scarf and just, you know, maybe kind of become a designer. But I had this desire and this drive to see that there was more that I could do with crochet itself. And so it's been an evolution, and at times it's driven me crazy, but generally I love what I do. And let's see, in 2018 here in Ithaca, I became a member of State of the Art Gallery. And I left in 2020, and now I'm having a show in Geneva. I'm part of two people that are presenting. So it's a two-person show in Geneva in June. I think the show opens on June 4th, the first Saturday or Friday or whatever, I think Saturday. And then I'm also going to be presenting two pieces over at Corners Gallery here in Ithaca. So I guess we can kind of start, Zach, if you want. It's what I'm going to discuss is just a little bit about process. So like I said, for many years, I, just was learning the crochet, building up my skills and learning the stitchery. I'm no good at following patterns, probably because I'm left-handed. There's something about left-handed people, but anyway. I, just perfected the stitches, the various stitches. And from there, I believe this will be, if you got a chance, let me say first, if you got a chance to look at my website, you'll see that I had some crochet, what I call crochet illustration. So there were these little figures that were sort of interacting with each other in little vignettes, I call them. So that's kind of how I started, because I wanted to see, is it possible to do this, to make little characters and to tell little stories. And
are you seeing the screen, the website up there? So if you want to direct me around it, I'll
okay, I'm not seeing, oh, wait a minute. Okay, so is there anything that I have to?
No, I have complete control of it. So if you say go to about, I can do that, or I can go to the gallery.
Well, it has your viewing. Let me see. I'm not seeing, I'm seeing the Zoom screen.
Oh.
It has view options, but it's not giving me an option. And
on
then
the top of your screen, do you show
there's
like,
a green, it says, so at the top of my on top of my menu bar, well, below the menu bar actually, it says you are viewing Zach Nelson's screen, but I'm not, because yeah.
Can you there's like 9 little squares all together. Next to that, there's two bigger
No, I don't get,
if you run your cursor over on the top of the taskbar up there, it should say show grid view, show grid video.
yeah, I don't have that for whatever reason. Oh, top, yeah, sorry about that. Let me
So
see.
you might hit
Okay, so
some of those buttons.
there's little square thingies, and I see all of you. And show grid video. So what should I click on that?
Try hitting one of them. I'm not sure exactly which one will.
Oh, it's one of them. Okay. What's that? That's just another.
It's not changing anything.
Yeah, no, it only I can only see you. Let me see if there's something.
Oh, I can only see you and Zach.
Right, I'm not seeing.
Maybe the dash, just the underlined part on the far left of those four icons
Yeah,
says hide thumbnail video. If you
right.
hit that, that might shrink you down and let you see the screen.
Yeah, now I can see no one. It shrunk me down. Swap shared video with swap shared screen with video. What does that do?
Okay. Now I see 4 of you.
Oh, I see it now. I see Zach's screen. I have to kind of.
Can you grab onto the screen that's showing the people and try to push it to the side?
Well,
I got a hold of Sandra's screen and it multiplied into everybody else too. Only now I can't see Sandra. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I can't see. Let me see if I can pull up, show. Oh, right. So let me see either one thing or the other.
So forget about the people and look at the
Okay.
shared screen, I think, for now.
Okay. And now it went away. Okay, so I'm looking at the shared screen, and basically, if we go up to gallery,
Yep.
I would click on gallery, and there will be crochet illustrations.
Yep.
Under gallery, where's gallery?
Okay.
You don't have to do anything. You just have to
Okay, so I can't see people, but that's okay. So if you click on crochet illustrations, there's a series, there it is. So my approach, this was done in approximately, let's see, around 2003, 2002, 2003. And what my approach to, creating these little scenes was, I was kind of expressing what I saw in my daily life, living in New York City, a very vibrant city full of all kinds of people and all kinds of activities, and just, bringing into it the human equation, human interaction. And so I wanted to, I think I made a series of note cards with these different designs, because I wanted to kind of show the kinds of situations or the kinds of slices of life that we don't see every day, reflecting people that we see, but somehow in our broader culture. Like, for example, when you go to a card store and you're picking out a card, these were images that I felt that, well, I don't see them anywhere else, so I'll create them. And So this was one of my favorite things. So basically these were all, individually crocheted and posed and then bonded to paper. Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. So that's where I started. And then if you click on, I think it's pictorials. In the gallery, right? So this moves ahead to like 2010, 2012. I wanted the very first one, the girl with the flower in her hair. My desire was to see if I could, by using a technique of blending, mixing two threads together, and also changing colors randomly, if I could kind of, simulate an actual picture, an actual portrait. And so the girl with the flower in her hair, that was my first attempt at trying to create, an actual picture, like painting with a brush, only I'm doing it with a crochet hook. And so that was that phase. Then if you go to the other category, so you can kind of, scroll down through those, telling stories, again, using crochet to tell stories and reflect the world, express the world as I experience it and as I see it every day.
So is this a child standing in front of a waterfall or in the
Well,
woods?
everybody thinks it's a waterfall. I saw it as an open door. That was
A
my,
door.
but waterfall in a garden is nice. But yes, like the innocent child in all of us, the explorer, the one who, as we go through life, as we grow up, we look to that open door, to see what is beyond, like what's, there's a path you can follow or you can stay in the garden. Either one is fine. And
so this is a cityscape on the right here.
It's sort of a cityscape, nothing in proportion, but this was my first one that I ever did. And this was around 2012, 2013, I think. Again, it was just, trying to see if I could use crochet to tell a story. And this one is interesting. And Zach, the last picture here, the girl standing in the field of tulips, I sent two images that kind of, where I can kind of go into the process of how I do these pictures. So I don't know if you want to switch to.
Skip over to the ones that the pictures you sent me.
Yes, I think it would be image number 1, and this is where I can describe the process. So the first thing I do is I put together my palette. So it could be, I use cotton, crochet cotton, either Aunt Lydia's or it was South Made at that time. And I have 2 strands of cotton, and sometimes I mix the colors. I don't know if we can make that. Yeah, it's probably not going to get much bigger.
I'm sorry that
yeah,
it's going crazy. My computer's lagging out, I guess. Okay, that's about as good as I can get.
That's pretty good, right? So I sent a small image, so that's why you can't tell. But sometimes, like in order to create a color that doesn't exist, my approach to it is the same as a painting artist would be, to mix you're going to mix 2 colors together. So say I'll take an orange and a pink, so that I can kind of create a salmon color. So it's a lot of fun, mixing my palette. But once I have my palette, it's mixed, then you can go to slide 2, to image 2. Okay, so realizing that crochet is a very linear kind of process. The craft itself is linear. It's based on math, geometry, whatever. So what I do is, because it's linear, it's like anything else where people, you can have a pattern and you could just, like with, I guess it works with cross stitch, where you can have the pattern and print it out and match the colors. But I don't work like that. I work pretty much from my head. So I am going across a line, turning the cloth around and going back the other way. So I have to have a clear image in my mind at all times, what the final picture is going to look like. In this case, I actually worked from a sketch, and every now and then I would lay the piece out to see if I was kind of matching the kind of rough sketch that I made. And this piece measures, I believe it measures 4 feet in height, and I think a little over 2 feet or 3, it's like 26 inches in width and 4 feet 2 inches in height. So it was a pretty big piece. And in order to, it was, I had to work from a sketch because there was no other way that, I would be able to, at least as far as the proportions and everything, work out. And as you saw the final piece on the website.
So you slowly worked up and held
Yes,
it up against the sketch as you went? So
yes.
the
As I went
sketch
up,
didn't really help inform you on colors or changing which
right.
color, but it helped you with the shapes, keeping that all.
Yes, it did, because I knew roughly what I wanted it to look like. And I was inspired by, in Central Park, there is a conservatory garden in Central Park. And there's actually 3 gardens within the garden. One is an English garden. Another one is, they have sculptures, and another one, every spring, they plant tulips. And when my mom was alive, I used to like to take her down to the conservatory garden, and we would just sit there and look at the tulips. It was so beautiful. I made videos of the tulips because they're in every color. And so that was what inspired this piece. And the aspect that I liked the best is the fact that I wanted to have a black girl in a white dress in this setting, because that again is something that we don't see every day. We want to see this person embracing the flowers, to see the humanity, the vulnerability, and the beauty in that. So that was my inspiration. And let's see, I guess we could go to let's see what's next. I'm trying to think. Image.
You want to go back to the website or keep going on the pictures?
Could I ask you a question?
Certainly.
Do you use is it single crochet or double that you're using? And you're going back and forth?
Thank you for that question. Yes.
Yeah.
So initially, I thought, oh, let me use, single crochet, because that will give more representational kind of look to it.
Mhm.
But then in the end, I decided not to. I use double crochet only. And the reason why is because everyone is familiar with pixels on the computer.
Right.
The single crochet, like cross stitch, as a matter of fact, I've done some stuff in single crochet, and you can't tell the difference between the cross stitch and single crochet when you have a finished, flower or whatever your image is. The single crochet will fit, you can get that to fit the pixel very, very, because it's something with the measurements. The double crochet does not. The double crochet is a little longer, a little taller.
Mhm.
I deliberately used the double crochet because I wanted it to have that kind of very rugged, textural, deep textural look. And so that when people saw it, and people who are familiar with how with crochet like, looks like, there would no doubt, they would know right away, wait a minute, this is crochet. And I wanted that to be very clear that it wasn't anything else. So thank you for that question, because that was like really important to me.
I have a question also about
Yes.
your color changes.
Yes.
How do you do that? Is the back all knots or? how
Oh,
do you
no.
do the
Okay.
color change?
So what I do is I am, and I have an image for that, but I didn't send it because I didn't think anybody would ask that question. What I'm doing is so I'm going through the double crochet, I loop over, I insert my hook, I pull out the loop, I loop over, pull it through the first 2 stitches. Those last 2 stitches that are left on is where I insert the new color, pull that through, and I give it enough of a tail that I actually work it through a couple of stitches, and it's locked in. So as the fabric is created, the threads, not all of them, but just the thread of the new color is carried along for at least a couple of stitches. And I work with a small needle, about 2.5 millimeters, I think that is, which would be equal to maybe a B, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So I have double thread. I'm working with a small needle. It's by the time I finish creating the fabric, it's a good weight, and it's very sturdy, so that it appears to be, like a tightly woven kind of thing. And so the threads hold, and then, they're not, I lock in just enough that I can cut off, and even when you turn it around and look at the back, you're not going to see a whole bunch of threads hanging.
Thank you. That is really neat. That's always
It
been one
is.
of my bugaboos
Wonderful.
with changing color on anything.
Yeah, yeah, and it's hard, especially like when I was doing the tulips. By the time I got to the top of the tulip, like I only needed the color for one stitch. For one stitch, I only needed the new color for one stitch, but I was able to do it. And sometimes I'll let as I'm like, say when I was doing the flower, I would let the colors be individual, and let's see how to describe it. Like I would let the colors travel along, not carried along, but staying in place, so that I'm changing that color. Okay, I'm letting it drop, going on to the next color, letting it drop, especially when you have it where you're going to be doing color changes so much. So I don't know if that's clear, but.
Yes, I understand. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Joanne?
I guess it's almost like, I think they do that in weaving, if I'm not mistaken. The threads will be still there, and they'll only be incorporated when they need to come in. Does that sound a little clearer? So that's sort of what I'm doing. And then we can, Zach.
I think Joanne had a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sandra, about what you were just talking about.
Yes.
I remember when you were at the History Center, you were actually showing some of us how you did that with the ends.
Yes.
And I tried desperately to remember, and by the time I got home, I had forgotten. I'd love to see a video of you doing that. But do you, when you leave, let's see, when you're not tying in the ends and you leave, you said you drop a color and then you pick it up when you need it again, but you leave the thread there. Do you, I mean, these are basically like wall pictures, right? But do you put a backing on what you've done afterwards to try to protect those?
Yes, I do. I do put a backing on. For a long time, gosh, for so many years, I didn't know like how was I supposed to be able to present these? Was I supposed to put a backing on? Did I put them in a frame? I have been through everything, trying to develop a way. So basically, and I didn't know it at the time, I probably could have backed them with canvas, so, you know, bonded them to canvas. I do, I'm trying to think, I think this particular picture is actually in a frame. It was sewn to, I think it was either canvas or some other type of backing, and then it was bonded to something else. You know, it's been really hard trying to figure that part out, but it works, you know, for presentation. I was able to get it sort of on a backing so that I can hang it. Lately, I've been just bonding to like a silk or a lining fabric or felt, or, you know, anything that will, you know, give it the look. It's still something I kind of wrestle with a little bit. Yeah.
I have a separate question. You were talking about blending the colors.
Yes.
When you do that, do you actually take the ply of one color apart? And
Oh.
you know, if it's a four ply cotton,
Yeah.
you take two of one color, let's say of a, you were talking about salmon, one of a pink and one of an, two of a pink and two of an orange, or how do you do it?
Oh, no, I just take one and one. So I'll take like, I'm thinking DMC. DMC does this also, but South Made and Aunt Lydia's have what the size 10. So it depends on what size thread I'm using, because you can be 10, 20, 30. The higher the number, the thinner, the finer the thread. Most of this work was done in 10. So I would just take 2 10s, but I always held 2 strands, even when I'm working with a single color, it's 2 strands. And I like the 2-strand approach. It gave me the body that I wanted. It gives me, you know, the look. So it's always 2 strands. So if I need to mix 2 colors, it's just 1 and 1 straight up.
Okay, so you mean even like, for instance, the white on the girl's, or the cream color on
Yeah.
the girl's skirt, you've got 2 strands of,
Yes.
of white. I gotcha. Okay,
Mhm.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. So if there are not any more questions, we can go back to the website for a hot second to look at under gallery, to look at soft sculpture. Okay, so we'll start here, I guess. So this again is later work, and the idea of that is behind this was to use actual crochet stitches themselves to inform how a piece would look. So instead of creating a picture, I'm more for this one, I don't know the actual name, the white bowl. I don't know the you know, actual name of the stitch, but I think we used to call it the loop stitch or something. I don't know what it's called, but I practiced that, you know, that stitch for a while, and then I started to form this bowl, and you know, I just really like the look of it. It has a certain fancifulness or whatever. And then the blue bowl, I did the same thing there. That's a crochet stitch, and I can't remember the name of it, but it gives the bowl a very highly textured look that, you know, that I thought would be good. And if we scroll down, let's see. Okay, so, and the mask on the right, again, that is actual crochet stitches, pattern that I did like different open weave or open stitch patterns, lacy patterns, and then I sewed them together and I had a mold that I was working on and to form the mask and just kind of, see what I could, the whole thing is to kind of take crochet out of that flat and bring it into 3-dimensional and bring it, kind of forward. The figure on the left is an actual full crocheted soft sculpture figure. And this one is kind of my favorite. I was on the subway one day and this guy got on the train and he was so neatly dressed. And he was a small man, but he was so neat, like everything fit just perfectly. And he had this little hat on his head and his sunglasses. And he made such an impression on me visually that I think I always carry my sketch pad with me. So I was like, you didn't realize it, but I was like sketching him. And then when I got home, I created this figure. And it has fingers. And I think at one point, I'm not sure if he still has the ring on, but at one point, I think I put a ring on his finger and the pants are separate and the shirt is separate and the sunglasses and his little beard and his little hat. So that was a lot of fun to do.
Fingers are amazing. What did you do with that?
I know that was like, again, a challenge, can I do this? Can this be done? And my whole thing is that crochet is just like any other medium. If you learn, how to use it, you can express your way you could express yourself in any way that you want to. And I mean, there's some amazing, I've seen artists doing some amazing work. There's an artist, Zenobia Bay, who's in New Jersey, I believe. And she's done some fantastic work. She was featured in American Craft magazine, I believe, one year. I can't remember the year, but she's done phenomenal work. So yeah, so I'm just another crochet artist, trying to explore, how far I can do it. So Zach, now we can go to number 3 image that I sent you. Okay. And this is kind of where I'm currently at. This image was compiled. I love quilting. I like bow down to quilt artists because it's something I really can't do. But I'm looking at, we think of crochet as you crochet one piece and then you're done. And I thought, well, this is really fabric that crocheters are creating. So who's to say that you can't cut that fabric like you would any other fabric? So this piece is made up, and I used that quilt pattern that is, I forget what they call it. It's like a star or a wheel or something. There's an actual name for it, but I don't remember. It's like the pinwheel, I guess. So I cut these shapes from actual pieces of crochet that I had already created, and I cut them and then sewed them back together into this quilted piece. And then Zach, the next one. Okay. And so this is one of my latest pieces that I just finished this month. Again, I've kind of taken that idea of, cutting and manipulating, moving around, mix and matching, quilting together pieces in order to tell a story. In this case, in order to give that feeling of spring and, the joy, the color, all of the things that we associate with spring and good feelings there.
How big of a piece is that actually?
It's oh God, it's huge. Not huge. I think it's like something by 30 something. It's 36 inches in height by 20 something inches in width. So it was fairly big for me to work on, yeah. And then the last image that we have is something else that I've been doing lately. And when you open the website, you'll actually will see some of these 3D, more abstract kind of things. So this one is one that I'm doing for Geneva, as a matter of fact, for the Geneva show. Again, it's pretty straightforward. You know, you have the skeleton, bones and skull, and then the figures, the gray figures that are, I'm posing to kind of elicit feelings of despair and, you know, kind of the things, you know, after we've been through this pandemic for 2 years, the way people were feeling, you know, isolated, is this ever going to end? And then now some of the craziness that happens when, you know, when there is a pandemic, which is complete lunacy and people just, you know, acting out. And so this is to incorporate some of that. And so I had fun making the skeletons. and the gray pieces are actually, they're like about 20 inches tall, 24 inches tall. And so that's been a lot of fun. And how I pose them is I actually have wire, heavy gauge wire, say about maybe 12 gauge, 14 gauge wire that I have inserted. And I put a little bit of fiber fill inside to give them a little bit of body. And that's my latest also. So that's where my mind is at. The one final thing I'll say is that at first I, you know, kind of didn't think of myself necessarily as an artist. I just wanted to make things that were, you know, that make people happy to look at. And so I saw that as being my mission or whatever. And I would always listen to other artists saying, you know, the job of an artist is to tackle some of those social and issues that exist in people's lives. And so lately, the last few years, it's been, you know, overwhelming what we've been through as a country, as a world, and I cannot not express it. So as resistant as I was to bring issues into my work, I find now that I have an obligation to do so. So that's kind of what I do. And that's it, I guess. Any questions?
Where will you be exhibiting next?
Well, like I said, in June, I'll be in Geneva at the Dove Block Project.
Do you say that again?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was trying to bring back the picture thing and I don't see. Let me see if I see you guys. Oh, there you are. Hi, I'm back. Okay, you were there all the time. All right. So in June of this year, I will be exhibiting at the Dove Block Project, which is in Geneva, New York. So you can check out their website. It's a new gallery. It's a fantastically beautiful space. I mean, wow. So the last two pieces that I showed will be part of that show that I'm going to be exhibiting at there. And I think it opens June 4th. We have the opening reception, I believe, from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., June 4th. Let me just look that up. Well, of course, I wouldn't have it on my calendar, of course not, but I'm pretty sure it's June 4th. Anyway, it's on the schedule. If you go to the Dove, D-O-V-E, the Dove Block Project, Geneva, New York, it'll be on the schedule. And you'll see it. And then I'll have 2 pieces at Corners Gallery, and I believe that's going to be opening at the end. The show that she's doing is going to be opening at the end of June into July, I believe, because they changed the dates. So it's a little bit. So I guess that's kind of my story.
Sandra, I'm looking at that Dove Block project. It says June 4th to July 2nd.
Yes, there it is. Yes.
That's a pretty one.
Right. And Gary Carlson, I don't know if any of you are familiar with his work. I think he's from Geneva. I'm still learning about his work because I had never heard of him. Fantastic. Found objects, creating art from found objects. So I'm so excited to see his work, but he was definitely a son of Geneva and someone that the community loved immensely. So yeah, can't wait to see that. So are there any other questions?
This is Myra. Did you learn when you were a little girl how to crochet?
No, I didn't. I desperately wanted to, but my mom, she didn't know. She taught me how to knit. And I'm left-handed, so it was hard for me. She got the books and everything, but I just couldn't follow it. I couldn't work it out. So I was living in San Francisco. I was 21 years old and I was working at Pacific Telephone Company. And I was just struggling, because I really wanted to learn how to crochet. And one of my mates said, come over on Saturday, I'll show you. And I go, but nobody's been able to teach me. And I would have learned. And I felt like I was being locked out of this whole world because I couldn't crochet. I went over, it took her, I think something like 15 minutes. She was such a good teacher and she realized I was left-handed and she knew how to work with me. And I got it like that. And that was in 1971. And I
Wow.
never stopped after that. That was it.
Neat.
This has been really neat, but I was going to tell you next time, if you sit in front of someone, because I'm left-handed, and then like they're going one way, you'll be going the other way, you can actually see it.
Yes,
I've taught right-handed people to crochet.
yes, I have too.
Just have to sit in front of you. You're
Yes.
the mirror.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's so funny. It's like so long ago, and
Oh yeah.
this world that to me, because ever since I was like 4 years old, the first time I ever saw anyone crochet, it was this older girl in the neighborhood, and I was so mesmerized by that. I said, how could someone take a string and then she had a piece of cloth? That was like magic to a 4-year-old. So yeah, so that was my whole thing. Like I felt like I'm not going to be able to be part of this thing, whatever it is. And then yeah, it just went from there. But yeah, I've taught right-handed people how to
Yeah.
crochet, and I keep saying, oh, maybe one day I'll do a left-handed crocheters book or something.
They have books out now, though.
I should think so.
They do. And also, like YouTube or something on the internet.
Yeah.
Both
yeah.
ways now. A
Yeah.
1,000 years, because I was real young also, the lady downstairs. And I got she brought me a crochet hook. She said, my mom, I'll teach her. I think it was like 15 or 10 cents. And I still got that bent up hook now, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I love your work. It's really nice.
Thank you.
Really nice.
Yeah, that was really interesting.
Thank you.
Have you ever terms of doing both left-handed crochet, and also you were talking about when you're doing your linear
Yes.
pictures. Once I was doing, what do you call it, filet crochet. I was making a
Yeah.
centerpiece, a table centerpiece for somebody.
Yeah.
And it was driving me crazy when I was going in the back.
Yes.
So I'd go in one direction, go in the other.
Yes.
And at the time I was teaching, and we were using kind of old-fashioned technology. So I used to use transparencies a lot.
Mhm.
And so I wound up taking a transparency, those clear sort of gel-like, they're 8.5 by 11. So they're
Yes.
like, or the other way around,
Yes.
like a piece of paper. And I would copy the pattern on that. In other words, I'd put that into the copy machine, the transparency, and then copy it. And then every time I did a row, I would take a magic marker and cross it, and then I would flip the pattern.
Oh, okay.
And that worked really, that was so helpful.
That is so
was
smart.
crazy. And I don't know whether or not if you did that with your photo or with your sketches,
Right.
and then every time you did the back row, you flipped it. I don't know if that would work or not.
I never thought to do that. That is so smart. For me, it was the challenge of just having the image in my brain. And then when I flipped it over, like if it was like say I'm showing someone walking. So when I flipped over, I had to remember like what direction were they walking in, so that the shoe, would come up, the heel would come up at the right point to actually, simulate walking. So I think I got a thrill out of just being able
To figure it out.
to figure that out. And I have had to take out a row or two more than once. I don't, as the years went on and I got more, better at doing it, it's just part of the way my brain works. So it's not an issue, but in the beginning, I used to have to take out the row. No, I put too much, no, that's not slanted enough. Oh, so it's been a great journey, I have to say.
Do you still sketch your patterns, or do you just do it all?
Sometimes,
Row at a time?
like there's one that I have, it's called, I've named it a few things, Any Day in the City, My Beautiful City, My Vibrant City, something like that. And that one, because it has a lot of figures, it has buildings, it has people in the windows, dogs, whatever, guy on a cell phone, whatever. It has a lot of little things in it. I kind of sketched out because it's over 2 feet, maybe 20 inches wide. And because it has so much going on, I kind of sketched out just, lightly where I wanted everything to be. But that one, and when I say hold the image in my mind, I'll think on something like it could be a year or 2 years. And when it's fixed up in my mind, then I know I got it.
Wow.
And I can proceed with working. That's just the way, my mind works. So, but I hold the image. I have to, for 1 or 2 years. The one with the girl, the flowers, I kind of fixated on that for a couple of years before I actually started doing it. And when I started doing it, I worked on it for a month or two, and then I rolled it up and I put it away. Because you have to step back. I guess you find like if you're working on a really big piece, you need to step back and then pull it out with fresh eyes so that you can say, okay, is it saying what I wanted it to say? So that's kind of my approach. So all in all, it might have taken like, I don't know, 8 months to finish it, because I stepped away for like a couple of months and then I brought it back out.
I wanted to tell you, you probably know this, but my dermatologist has 2 of your crochet paintings.
Oh, you're
wall.
gonna just see, okay.
Yeah, and it's really nice to see them hanging there and finished. And
Oh, thank you.
framed.
I have not seen, it was during COVID, so I went over, and presented her with them, but I actually have not seen them hang, so I have no idea what it looks like.
She's got them in a really nice spot with lots of light. And yeah, so if anybody goes to Dr. McAllister, you can see Saundra stuff.
thank you. Thank you for telling me that. Thank you. So,
Nice to know.
yeah. So, does anyone have any other questions or comments? Well, gee, I've had so much fun, sharing my love of what I do. I thank you again for letting me do that. And
Thank you for
Thank you.
joining us. It was
Yes,
really
thank you for being
interesting.
here.
That was great.
fun,
Nice.
interesting program. So
Inspiring.
much
Colors are
appreciated.
incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're very talented. So thank you for sharing. And
Excellent.
we'll watch, keep those gallery dates in mind. And the program used to be a little more mobile than we are now, but Geneva doesn't seem like it's out of the question. So
Oh,
And the Corners Gallery is
maybe we'll
really
go see it in person.
yeah,
Oh,
and
that would
right
be
in
great.
Corpus is pretty close to us also. So that was a real honor to be asked to participate at Corners also, as was Dove. So yeah.
Could you give the date again for the Corners Gallery?
Corners Gallery, let me see.
It's June. Well, the reception is June 4th. And it
That's
runs
for
to-
That's
That's
Geneva.
Geneva.
Oh, okay.
Right,
Corners.
Corners is, let me look and see, because we had a date, but then the dates got changed. So now, let me see. Corners Gallery, that's upcoming. I'm gonna have to go to the website. So let me see if because I don't know
Oh,
if
it would be on the Corners Gallery website. Is what you're saying.
check the website. I don't see it on there.
it's June 25th through August 26th
That's it. That's it.
with,
Yeah,
and the reception is June 25th, 3 to 5.
right. Thank you.
Great, thanks.
I'm like trying to finish off from one to the other. Yeah. So I think one of the pieces that I'm going to have there, I'm working on another new sculptural piece that I'm excited about that doesn't look like anything that you've seen. But one of the pieces that I will have will look like that bowl with the loopy stitches, the loop stitch bowl, the white one. I'll have one like that. And then there's another piece that will introduce another kind of expression, shall we say, that let's hope it works.
Have you ever seen a book called Hard Crochet?
No, I've never heard of it.
My sister gave it to me years and years ago. It was one of the few things I've seen written by a man crocheter. And the hard doesn't mean difficult. He uses a much smaller hook
Yes.
than the yarn or the thread requires, and it
Yes.
comes out really rock hard.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
was wondering, you talked about the bee hook that you use. Do you use a hook that you want to be bigger or smaller than the recommended?
Yes, that would, right off the bat, that was my, when I first started doing, more artistic crochet, I said, I think I have to use a hook that is smaller than what the yarn itself would call for. And I also like the idea of using other materials, like I've crocheted with leather, ribbon, wire. I tried once, we used to buy so much corn in my family. So I would take the corn silk stuff and the corn. It was, sometimes things don't work, but it's more a thing of, I'm still determined to, I go outside sometimes and I'm still determined to get some grasses and start to see what I can do with grass. Because I know they use grass for weaving baskets and everything. So I'm thinking that yeah, I should be able to do something with grasses. So, but I've tried everything. Yeah. So that, but always, yeah, in order to get, I have one that, it's like a vase here. And I just picked it up. I went over to it yesterday and I like hit it, and it's so hard that it doesn't dent or anything. But I remember, yeah, the fingers have got a real workout, definitely.
Well, thank you so much for coming, and really interesting program, and
Thank
we'll
you for
see you-
having me. I
you,
really appreciate
uh,
it.
soon, we hope, and everybody else next week.
Can I ask a question
Sure.
about group? Like how often? Because I didn't know that you had a group. So can you tell me about the group?
Sure. I mean, pre-pandemic, we were the group met at GIAC every Tuesday at this time for a couple hours, and people would bring their projects and sometimes share with others, and it's very social. Do your own thing around other people.
Right.
Help learn some new things. For the past couple of years, we've been virtual, still at the same time on Tuesday, right afternoon. And I've started inviting an artist like you to come in periodically, once a month maybe, and share. And so we'll be back at this next week at the same time, same Zoom link. If you want to join us just for a hangout session, you'd be most welcome.
Okay, so next Tuesday at 12.
Exactly.
I would love to.
All right.
Thank you.
Please do.
Thank
Yeah.
you. It's been so much fun engaging with you, and it's really fun, when I'm talking with other crocheters and stuff. It's like I could go on for years, but I know your time is limited. But I will see you next
Oh,
week.
yeah, right. Pick up the conversation at next week. So
Yeah.
It's an open invitation.
Yeah.
Thank you, Saundra. That was so
Thank you.
interesting.
Have a blessed day, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.